Welcome back to the Bearcat Tip Off Talk podcast presented by Donahue Accounting Services. For friendly expert tax advice whenever you need it, come to Donahue Accounting Services. A leading accounting firm in Cincinnati, Ohio, our top-notch accountants strive to help you resolve all your financial and tax issues. Call Donahue Accounting Services today for a free consultation at 513-528-3982 or visit online at donahueaccountingservice.com. I'm your host, Alex Meacham, former Bearcat basketball player from 1997 to 1999 under the Hall of Fame coach, my guy, Bob Huggins.
And I'm Neil Meyer of the Front Office News.
And I'm JT Smith, editor-in-chief of the Front Office News.
All right, fellas, we are back for another episode. Before we jump into it, and we talk a little gloom and doom with our men's basketball team, we've got some sunshine, and that is the women's team. Neil, give us an update.
Yeah, so last night, Katrina Merriweather and this women's basketball program picked up their biggest win in program history with their first win over a ranked opponent since 2011 with a huge win, a 71-63 victory over number 11 Iowa State. So a huge victory for Katrina Merriweather and the Bearcats. They were led by Maya Perry, who finished with a game-high 26 points. Perry finished 10 of 14 from the field and was a staple point in this game for Cincinnati, playing all 40 minutes in this contest, which Meach and JT would know. When you look down at a stat sheet, you're not really expecting to see a player play all 40 minutes, but for Maya Perry to have the night she had for Cincinnati last night to guide them in a victory over a top 15 opponent was huge for Cincinnati. So 26 points for Maya Perry last night. Kalia DeVillisi finished with 13. Joy Crawford with 10. So a big win for the Bearcats and Katrina Merriweather last night. But it's also worth shouting out that this team's starting to get fully healthy now with the return of D. Alexander as well. So a big program win last night for Katrina Merriweather and the women's basketball program.
You know, Neil, JT, I'm so happy for Katrina, being a former player. She played the same time I was at UC. We're very good friends. I'm very proud of her and what she's doing. I had an opportunity to talk with her. So I was going to one of the football games one day, and you know how, I don't know if you guys know this, but you can cut through the arena to go to the football game now.
Yep.
I don't know how many years they've been doing that, but the girls were practicing one day. And so I went down and I stopped down and I spoke to her. And she talked a little bit about her vision and her plan for the program moving forward. And I really love what I heard. And that victory, some of the recruits she's landed are really helping her solidify this plan she has in place. So kudos to her. And hopefully they keep winning, keep getting some momentum, keep getting better players. And shit, the girls' team, the women's team might be the best team in UC athletics right now. We'll see. All right, fellas, let's jump right into it. The Bearcats are currently 8-7 after losing to West Virginia, 60-62. JT, we always start off with you. You've always got good insight. Your thoughts on the Bearcats' performance?
Man, they just let another one slip away that they had under control. You know, you're up 5 with a little less than 5 minutes left in the game. I think they scored 3 points to finish the game. That was like at the last 30 seconds of the game. Turnover, turnover, bad shot. Might be a turnover squished in there. It just was like, man. So it's one of those things. If they had a better record, and if you beat Houston, you can take this loss. Yeah. But with what's going on in the Big 12, man, this is, like I said, before this season started, before this Big 12 play started, I said it can get ugly. And you start off 0-2. And the sad thing is those 2 games were both winnable games, especially that West Virginia game. They had them dead to rights. And then Houston, you have a top 10 team. That's going to boost your morale, boost that confidence. And I feel like it's going to catapult them. You lose both of those games. And, man, you don't have an easy game. You got a lot of games in January. And to even think about sniffing the NCAA tournament, you have to win a lot of games. I mean, I think 16 games left, so you at least got to win. I mean, you got to go 10-5, maybe. I mean, because I don't think you have that. You don't have, let's see, what, 10-6? No, 11-5, maybe. Which you already know, because you don't really have the the out of conference record to stamp anything. So you kind of got to go on a hell of a run, and have to start now.
Yeah.
And you drop 2 games that were winnable. It puts your back against the wall. We'll talk about some stuff later, but that's why you have that kind of that bubble up type, that feeling. You know what I mean? And the Big 12 is a hell of a conference, man, and it's nothing to sneeze at. As bad as UC is playing or not, as bad as the numbers prove that they're not playing well, at least on the offensive side, and it's just kind of it is what it is. I mean, it is what it is right now. But yeah, I won't ramble and take everybody's thunder on this.
Yeah, JT, I was thinking about this. So we talked about on the last podcast. You come out, you play Houston, play pretty well for the most part, and obviously down the stretch lose the game versus Houston. And I said this in the podcast, okay, we play well versus Houston, come out, beat West Virginia. Now it gives me a little bit more hope, right?
Yeah.
But you lose Houston, lose West Virginia, it's just getting tougher and tougher sledding,
Yeah.
And I don't want to ever give up on the tough thing for me. I'm close to some of these players, and I want them to do so well. So I don't want to give up on this basketball team. I'm probably too close to the vest with some of my comments related to this team. But could you imagine, JT and Neil, if you think about this, let's say they pulled off the upset and beat Houston. They go down and beat West Virginia. Because I was thinking about that when how many were we up? 5 towards the end? Is that right, Neil?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we're up 5 against West Virginia at the end. Just imagine if we won those 2 basketball games. I could see the narrative being so much different. Like, okay, maybe they're figuring it out.
Yeah.
But no, here we are. It's just like you said, JT. I don't know where the wins are gonna come from, which games. And the thing, like, you can play the bottom of the barrel in the Big 12, which is still good. If you play even the bottom of the barrel on the road, playing on the road in conference is always tough.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know.
Yeah, and it's different. It's not like bottom of the barrel, and it's tough no matter what conference you're in playing on the road, but it's not bottom. The bottom of the barrel in the Big 12 is
shit.
But it's very, very true. But very true. Like, our hygiene is real bad right now. But you know what I'm saying? But it's like playing a mid team, like a mid-tier team, or a team that's close to the top of a lower conference, right? You know what I mean? So you don't have you got to be on point. You can't slip up, and then you can't come in there already back against the wall, or kind of like you can't catch a flash knockdown in the early rounds, which the Bearcats have done. If I'm going to go to my boxing analogies, I mean, they you know what I mean. They came in the non-conference the first 3 rounds, and they came in and they let somebody clip them, right? You know what I'm saying? They got to clip a couple times. So now you're trying tough to get those points back, right? And it's not easy. You're not fighting against a bum. You're fighting against a pedigree, a champion, a pure champion that's going to bring it every round. But you giving them 4 rounds now, already. So now you got to go for the home run, and when that happens, you're susceptible to get knocked out.
Yeah. And Neil, I'm sorry, I'm going to get to you. I'm sorry to take some time here, but I just want to say this. JT, prior to the West Virginia game, who would you say are the top four teams we've played so far are?
Before West Virginia, okay, so Houston for sure.
Houston's one.
Let's see. Houston, Georgia.
Georgia 2.
2. And then you say Clemson.
Clemson 3. And the fourth one's obvious.
4 is Dayton.
Louisville.
I forgot about Louisville. My bad. Louisville. My bad. I forgot.
So you okay.
My bad. Forgot about Louisville.
That's right. So you got those. Those 4 teams are the best, not only the best teams that we've played so far.
Yeah.
In some ways, some of the best teams in the country.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We play well versus Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
We play well for a large part of the game versus Houston.
Mm-hmm.
We had a good half versus Georgia, a good half versus Clemson. And it's just, I understand the fans' frustration with this basketball team because we should be, and I'm not saying we should always win those games, but if you're competitive in those games, you can't lose to Eastern Michigan. You can't lose to a bum-ass Xavier team.
Yeah. I mean, they barely beat Marquette, who Marquette is.
Marquette's poo-poo platter.
I mean, they lost to that was poo-poo platter versus poo-poo. I mean, it was trash versus trash. It was like, who wants to out-trash? Who's the trashiest? You feel me? And then we lost to them. And it was like, we should have beat them by 25 if we played. I mean, if we played half of a game. Because Xavier is terrible. We're not going to beat them as Xavier this year. I mean, shit, when are they going to beat them like there? You know what I mean? Because there's no way this is the worst Xavier team probably in the last 30-plus years.
For sure. And Xavier's going to be better next year.
Yeah.
They're way better than they are
right
now.
So it's like, you lose these games that you shouldn't lose. So it's hard to have faith because they're going to have to roll off. I'm talking about 4 to 7 game winning streaks for people. Like, and have they shown they can do that? And it's the Big 12. You got top tier teams that are top tier teams. So you telling me you're gonna beat Arizona? You telling me you're gonna beat Houston again? And you haven't beat Houston since you've been here. You're gonna beat Iowa State. You're gonna beat even Kansas State, TCU, Kansas. Like it's just it's teams I'm forgetting. You know what I mean right now, and it's just Baylor. I mean Baylor. They ain't nothing to sneeze at. It's just you don't have an easy gimme win, and then you gotta take those wins that people don't think you have a chance to win. You gotta win a couple of those, and they're not doing it, and it hurts because they're so close. But you can only be so close so many times before people start saying it just is what it is.
Yeah, and if you think like when we were in the American Conference, I mean, if we were in the American Conference this year, I mean. Your favorite team, JT, East Carolina.
Yeah, East.
Right? At East Carolina.
Yeah.
ECU was 20 people in the stands. You can get away with stuff in American. It masks a lot of deficiencies. Shit, the Bearcats could win the American Conference and get to the NCAA tournament. But listen, we want to be the creme de la creme. We want to be on that higher level. So you're in the best basketball conference in the world.
Yeah.
Sports has a short menu, folks. Wins and losses.
Yeah.
Sorry to take up so much time. Neil, we had you kind of sitting there waiting, so I apologize about that. Your thoughts on the Bearcats' performance?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of very similar to the Houston loss, right? I mean, you're sitting there, you're going back and forth. You're playing great basketball until the final segment or so, the final 4.5 minutes of this game. Cincinnati's offense just kind of went ice cold down the stretch. And I'm looking at the play-by-play possession here. Cincinnati went nearly 4.5 minutes before the final bucket in this game where you get a dunk from Mustafa Cham to take a 57-52 lead. And then from there on, it was all West Virginia. So overall in this matchup, I mean, for Cincinnati, they just could not find a way to close the gap and close this game down the stretch. And Connor Huff was fantastic. I know he was one of our players to watch heading into this game for West Virginia. He finished with 24 points in this matchup. So overall, Cincinnati just didn't have any discipline would be a good word to kind of use that they didn't have down the final stretch. I mean, you get the foul by Day Thomas on the 3-point shooter in a situation where you can't foul the 3-point shooter. So for Cincinnati, I mean, it was something we have seen throughout the year where they have played great basketball in spurts, but when times come in desperate measures, they kind of went away from what was working. And this was a matchup where they had everything working in their favor per se, and then the final 4.5 minutes, they went ice cold. So, I mean, it was just too late. You had the step back three from Baba Miller that kind of was, you had 12 seconds left on the clock, and you chuck up a step back three where you could have maybe found a way to drive to the basket and get a better looking shot. But overall, it was Cincinnati just not able to close this one out down the stretch. And that seems to be the pattern for Cincinnati, especially over the first 2 games of Big 12 play, is finding a way to close games. So overall, it's going to be interesting to see how do they learn from those 2 games versus Houston and West Virginia. But overall, I mean, there was times where you thought Cincinnati could open this game up, but then West Virginia made their run. So overall, I would say a lack of discipline towards the end of this one was the big difference maker for me.
All right, so I'll pose this to both of you all. So we're in very dangerous territory with this basketball team.
Yes.
And JT, like you like to say, we're I don't know if we're masterpiece shoe ugly yet, or if we're right on the cusp, if we're there. But my question is, if we go at UCF and lose, how bad are we? I mean, how ugly is that, JT? Is that
it gets we lose we go 0-3 in the Big 12, man. I'm scared for what people and the students are gonna do at Fifth Third Arena next home game. Oh, was that Wednesday? Yeah, following Wednesday. I'm scared of what they're gonna do, or how they're gonna act, or how they're gonna see the team. Like, you know what I mean? Because it's going to be, there'll be 500, and it just doesn't. Let me look at see, they go 0-3. They got Colorado at home, Iowa State at home. It's at home, but it's Iowa State. And have they given us any sense of security that they can beat Iowa State at home? Right? Then you go Arizona on the road, Iowa State on the road, Arizona State on the road, Baylor at home. Then Houston on the road to finish the month. Like, where do you see like a gimme win? Like maybe Arizona State? Can they beat Colorado?
Well, here's what I was kind of getting at, JT. If you lose to UCF, obviously the fan base has already turned.
Yeah.
They're going to turn even more.
Yeah.
What then are the players thinking? Because if you go 0-3, you lose West Virginia, UCF, winnable games.
Yeah.
Are they just like, you know what? We may not win a game the rest of the year. And the morale just goes downhill. I mean, very well, it could easily happen. I mean, these are, and the problem too is like these are young people that some of which are used to winning, some of them, haven't played at this level yet, and are new to this, and you don't have a lot of outside of Day. I don't think you have a lot of probably mentally mature guys. I would say of the crew, Day is probably the most mentally mature based on number of years in reps.
Yeah,
playing college basketball. A lot of guys are fragile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I
fair.
do. I'm worried. I'm worried going into that. This is the Bearcat. Sorry, I'm taking a deep sigh. This is the Bearcat Game Recap segment sponsored by Purple Monkey Project. Purple Monkey Project was formed following the tragic loss of 10-year-old Reagan Vanasse in May of 2021. Reagan was a ray of sunshine who lit up every room. The Purple Monkey Project is named after Reagan's favorite stuffed animal and seeks to keep Reagan's spirit alive by being a ray of light in the community and promoting random acts of kindness. By providing scholarships and other financial support of youth and youth-centered charities in Southwest Ohio. The Purple Monkey Project seeks to pay it forward, all in the name of Reagan. To learn more about the Purple Monkey Project, please visit purplemonkeyproject.org or visit them on Facebook at Purple Monkey Project. Now, this Sunday at 5 p.m., the Bearcats take on UCF in Orlando. You're listening to the Bearcat Tip Off Talk podcast, sponsored by Donahue Accounting Services. All right, let's jump into the Big O segment, sponsored by Oakley Greens. In this segment, we cover players to watch and key matchups. JT, fire away.
All right, so my player to watch in Orlando is I'm going Baba Miller. Baba had I think a 4.8 rebound game. Am I saying it? Let me double check that real quick. My bad, guys.
What game are you looking at?
Yeah, he had 4.7 rebounds. My bad. 7 boards, 6 assists against West Virginia. 4 points ain't gonna cut it, man.
Nope.
He needs to be in the 12 to 16 range, more if possible, but he needs to be there. I need 8 plus rebounds from him every game. I like the assists, but I still need him. 4 points ain't gonna cut it. When the Bearcats are scoring 60 points, we need more buckets, and I think he has the talent to do it. No step back threes. Shoot the mid range if you want. I'm cool with that, but at that 3 ball right now, abandon it. Abandon ship right now. Unless it's like late in the shot clock, I don't think he needs to have the green light to shoot a 3. So that's where I'm at with it. But I think he has the talent to be able to help the Bearcats a lot, and he has to do better in 4 points. And I think on Sunday he's gonna help the Bearcats play better.
I mean, at the end of the day, JT, Baba's the most talented player on the roster.
Yeah.
Most versatile player.
Yep.
He should be held to a standard every game. Like he doesn't always have to be the leading scorer.
Yeah.
But I think there's a standard that your best player should be held to, i.e. the Kenyon Martins, the Steve Logans. Those guys were held to a standard every single game.
For sure.
So, Neil, players to watch, UCF.
Yeah, so for me, when you look down at the UCF roster, obviously this is a UCF team that many people kind of counted out heading into the season, but you look down right now, they're sitting 12-2 overall. They're top 25 in the country. They're coming off they kicked off Big 12 play with a huge win versus Kansas at home, so that was a huge win, and a team where they defeated Kansas 81-75. But for me and my players to watch here versus UCF, we're going to start with Riley Kugel, the point guard there, who's been around at a couple different schools, but seems to find his footing down there in Orlando. He's averaging 14 points per game and 3 rebounds, but shooting 40% from the field. He's kind of been the go-to scorer for UCF, but another player that's kind of one of those sneaky players to watch for UCF was Jamichael Stillwell. He's averaging 12 points, and he leads the team in averaging 8 rebounds as well from 55% from the floor. So one of those guys who's really efficient when he gets the ball inside, but can do a lot of different things as well. He can beat you on the glass. He can score in volume as well. So those are my 2 players to watch for this matchup, and it's going to be interesting to see how does Cincinnati kind of match up to take those 2 guys out of the equation.
Good stuff, Neil. Hey, you know what? I've been meaning to ask you this, and I always forget. Over your right shoulder, there's something hanging on the wall. What is that?
This one right here?
Yeah.
So obviously people know I'm back home. I filmed the podcast back at my parents', so I'm in their basement when I film. There's a sign that says "Welcome, friends," and for those who know and listen to the pod, you know my family and my parents are crazy cat people. So it says "Welcome, friends" with a bunch of cats.
I've been looking at that, and I keep thinking to myself, what is that? I've been meaning to ask him. It's on brand. It makes sense. And for those that listen to the podcast over the years, it's crazy to believe this is our 4th season, fellas.
And it feels like every episode we get, I feel like my parents just bring another cat into the house.
No doubt. Like, didn't one go flying one time?
One did try to do that.
Too funny. All right, quickly, my player to watch. I'm going to go with Tyler McKinley, and here's my hope. My hope that Tyler McKinley gets some good reps in practice. He feels pretty good, and Coach Wes Miller and staff feel comfortable enough playing him some more minutes. And when you think about Tyler, you have to think about his entire career. You can't, because he's going through some pain right now, has some swelling, like, okay, we really need him because, hey, everybody on this podcast knows Tyler McKinley impacts winning in a major way for this basketball team. However, you don't want to put him and jeopardize him for his career just because of, one or two games. So they're being very, very careful with him. My hope is he's doing better. He's been resting quite a bit. So I'm thinking he's, closer to being, 15 plus minutes.
Yeah.
What's your ship? 15 plus minutes we need for this basketball team. So I'm going to say Tyler McKinley is my player to watch. Hopefully he plays some more minutes. And I'm pretty positive if Tyler gets 15 plus minutes, he's going to do some things that impact winning and help this basketball team. The Big O segment is sponsored by Oakley Greens. Oakley Greens, the ultimate spot to catch your hometown team in every big game. With 6 giant LED screens and TVs at every angle, it's more than a sports bar. It's your entertainment headquarters. All the sports, all the time, all at Oakley Greens. Located in Oakley Station next to the cinema. You can check them out online, oakleygreens.com. You're listening to the Bearcat Tip Off Talk podcast presented by Donahue Accounting Services. Ladies and gentlemen, in Greater Cincinnati, the Midwest, the nation, and taking over the world is everyone's favorite segment. It's the name game with our guy, Neil Meyer. And you know what? I've never listened to that song like all the way through. I'm going to do that one day when I'm working out. It's the name by Shirley Ellis, just so you all know. And I don't know what year was 1964. Wow. Old school. All right. Neil, so we're just going with the head bob. No more dance moves.
Yeah, until we start winning, that's when the dancing's going to come back. So,
all right. So noted. You did the head bob for this game. If we win, we got to continue that. Cool?
Cool.
All right. For those that listen to the podcast, any new people that are listening to the podcast, welcome. This segment, the name game, what we do is we look at the opposing team for the Bearcats, and we look at the rosters and the names of the opposing team's players. Now, some of these names are absolutely crazy. Some of them are just funny. Some are just unique. And in some cases, I think some of them are cool. Now, this segment, we're going to talk about UCF. And I'm here to say, by the time we get through with this, I think we might have a new All-American, 5-star, McDonald's All-American name game contestant. I'm thinking, just trust me on this one. All right, let's start with number 0, Neil.
Number 0 for UCF is Jeremy Fumena.
Say it again.
Jeremy Fumena.
All right, let's check the ear.
I'm Jeremy Fumena, Montreal, Quebec.
Not bad. Not bad. Pretty good. All right, let's move on to number 1, Neil.
Number 1 is Thamos Folks.
Let's check the ear.
Themis, folks, Winston-Salem.
Themis.
Themis.
You were close. You were close. All right. Let's jump into – actually, you know what? Before I move on to this, it's not that he has a crazy name. I'll have you say it, but there's something crazy he does. Number 7, Neil.
Number 7 for UCF is John Bowl.
Is this the guy with the free throw?
Yes.
This is the guy with the free throw.
Wow. Can you explain to people? The name's not crazy, but man, the free throw. Can you explain it?
This is where I feel like people, if like we could insert the video for the audio and people watch his free throw, like you would understand it because it's hard. Like I can try my best to recreate his free throw shot, right here on this camera, but it's like, it's crazy. Like a granny free throw looks better than what this guy's form would look like. And that's saying a lot, but it's like he's here with it, and then it's just like he turns his hand the opposite way and he spins it weird. And it's a complete one-handed free throw shot. It's crazy. It's crazy.
And you know, Neil, I don't think his hair helps,
No, absolutely not.
right? So it'd be different if he looked a little different, but he just looks kind of wild. So you add the free throw into it. It's yeah. So Bearcat fans, be on the lookout for
The one-handed free throw, baby.
Man. Let me hear what he sounds like. Hold on. Let me get the ear.
John Bowl, South Sudan.
Wow. He said John Bowl. He sounds pretty American there. All right. Number 9, Neil.
Number 9 is Elijah Hulsewe.
All right. We ready?
Elijah Holsway.
Hulsewe.
That's right.
Close. All right. Number 11.
Number 11 is Carmelo Pacheco.
That's pretty good.
Carmelo Pacheco. Here.
I actually kind of like that name because you got the O at the end of the first and last. Kind of rolls well. All right, JT, are you ready?
All right.
I'm going to say this is going to be our winner for the name game for the year. I don't think anybody's going to top this name. We're going number 33, Neil. Go.
Number 33, Meach. We got to talk about it. You know, he is a reoccurring offender of the name game.
Yeah.
Oh, that's my guy.
That's our guy, Pufa Warakanukro.
Did you say the N-word? Now, say his first name again. I think we've got to fix. This is why I say we've got to. I know we're talking about before, but we got. What do you say?
Pufa.
You ready? You ready for the ear?
Pupa Warakunakro.
It is Poopa. You've had it wrong this whole time.
Pupa.
It is Poopa. Poopa.
Pooper.
Let me hit it again.
Pooper.
Pupa Warakunakro.
Yeah, that's tough.
What do you think his nickname is?
Pupa. He's a walk-on. He's not playing.
Hey, he's in the walk-on Hall of Fame in my book. Your first name is Poopa. Because,
Pooper.
I mean, last time in the past,
Big
we
Pooper.
didn't have the ear, the pronunciation thing, right?
Yep, true.
So we had it wrong the entire time. This makes it that much better.
Pupa Warakunakro. Pupa Warakun.
I'm just gonna keep hitting it the whole time. All right. I think that's gonna be by far the best name. That's my favorite.
I swear, he's a redshirt senior, so he's been part of the name game since we started it. I'm fairly certain.
And we've had it wrong.
Yeah.
We've had the name wrong. We got it right. We got it right now. Oh, the name game with Neil Meyer. Always fun times. All right, let's jump into the Kenyon segment. This is where we cover keys to the game. I feel like we're going to have a little bit of some broken records here. Keys to the game. JT, it's on you.
All right, man. He's got to score, man. We got here. Yeah, I don't know. Our percentages are low everywhere. I need to score, man.
Yeah.
Offense to look a little crisper, especially. I ain't gonna take the thunder on anything else, but it's just score a damn ball, man. Shoot some good shots because we just certain times of the game we just act like we don't know like what the plan is, and we just do stuff out of character. How about that?
So what do you think the problem is, JT?
They don't have a pure identity. To me, just being honest, like you don't know what the plan is. To me, like
So-
you know,
Let me ask you what. Okay, sorry, I hate to stop here, but
yeah.
what, in your opinion, should this basketball team's identity be?
hard, man, because of the moving parts. But now that they have Jizzle back, Day, they gotta play. They gotta touch the paint, I think. And I know it's hard to do every play, but I think if it's by drive or if it's by pass, they have to touch the paint a little bit more. And I think Baba and Mustafa are like kind of the keys of that. Even if it's the elbow play or on the block, somebody has to touch it there. I think Baba has to embrace that he's skilled, but he has to embrace that he's going to be bigger than a lot of the people that are guarding him. And he's got to understand that he can't let him off the hook. And Mustafa, he doesn't have the handle that Baba has. So Baba, he's kind of like that Swiss Army knife player. He's got to understand that like he needs to be very aggressive. I think when they touch the paint more, the three falls a little bit better. I think that the drives get a little bit easier because I've seen times where teams have to double team Baba, and he has to force that in the Big 12 play if the Bearcats are going to have a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So that's kind of what I think they have to go, but they kind of let teams off the hook where they just pass around the perimeter without taking a look at the paint. Sometimes, to me,
Right.
I think they got to get to the foul line, and Jizzle and Day are some of the best free throw shooters, so they kind of have to. I would live with them forcing a few shots at the rim a bit more, because if they get fouled, they're gonna make their free throws 9 times out of 10. So It's kind of a thing. It's weird. And Baba's not a great free throw shooter, but I don't care. I need him to kind of muck it up and get a little ugly at times.
Yeah. One thing too, I remember I go back to my days with Bob Huggins, and Bob Huggins would always say that defensive teams, or not defensive teams, but teams defensively eventually break down at some point. So meaning if you pass the ball, you're cutting, you're doing a lot of things with movement.
Yeah.
Because defense, a lot of it is just communication.
Yeah.
And if you have to continue to talk and communicate with so much movement going on, there's just a lot of chance of error and breakdown. And sometimes when I watch these Bearcat possessions offensively, they're just not making the defense work to have breakdowns.
Yeah.
Like it's just like, I remember talking to one of the Arizona assistant coaches, and this was after last year's game, and he kind of talked to me about, there were times in that game, the home game versus Arizona, where the Bearcats were easy to guard. He said they were just it was not a tough challenge for our guys to guard.
Yeah.
And we're capable we're capable of being a team that puts pressure on a defense, and we've got the players to do it.
Yeah.
Either Wes isn't putting them in the right positions, or you just got some rogue people that aren't.
Yeah. It's either or.
A little bit of both.
Yeah, a little bit of both, a little mixture.
Neil?
Yeah, for my keys for this game, obviously, like you mentioned it, UCF is a team that allows teams to go out and score about 75 to 80 points per game. I think they're averaging like 77.6 points per game, but Cincinnati just needs to find ways to get to the basket and score some points like JT mentioned. I would love for them to kind of push the tempo a little bit. Could this be a game where they push the tempo and get out and run a little bit with Jizzle James, Day Thomas? It could be interesting. It could be the strategy they take, but for me, that would be the approach I would like to see them take, because obviously when this team gets out and running, this is a team that's very successful in that aspect. But they're going to have to score more than 60 points to win this matchup. So in Cincinnati's favor, they haven't scored more than 60, I believe 68 points per se. They haven't scored more than 65 points actually in Big 12 play. So for them, they're going to need to find ways to get downhill, speed up the game a little bit, and try to take the easy points when they come. So I would like for Cincinnati to speed up the tempo a little bit and get to the bucket and kind of see what kind of aspect they can do in that front and try to push the tempo and score some early points in this one.
So Neil, is that with pushing that tempo, more points, obviously, in your eyes, is that with Kerr, or without Kerr? Because Kerr, I don't know if he's planning to play or what. But I'm saying that to say, and JT will agree with me on this. Much like my guy's name, we just had the name game. There's been times Kerr's been poo-poo.
Right now, I would say without Kerr, because when you're dealing with the separated shoulder, Wes Miller didn't give the.
Hold on a second, JT. You got that?
No, I got it, but it was like
Yeah, I was about to say I got it right away, but
I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop. I'll try to hold my laugh. All right, my bad. Go ahead, my bad, Neil. Do your thing, bro.
But for me, I think obviously it's going to probably, for this matchup at least, I don't expect Kirk Carissa to play. Obviously, he didn't play versus West Virginia, so I would expect them to push the tempo a little bit, try to see what Day Thomas and Jizzle James can do in that aspect. But for Cincinnati, I just don't see them slowing this offense down and playing in the half court in this matchup. I feel them wanting to kind of push the tempo a little bit and see what those two guys are able to create. And maybe that allows a guy like Baba Miller to run the floor a little bit in transition, Mustafa Cham, especially with Mustafa Cham's return home. So if they can get out and running and they can get those two guys going in the front court between Baba and Mustafa, I think that could lead to Cincinnati having some things working in their favor. So I would like to see them push the tempo in this one, but I would say for this matchup, I don't think we see Kirk Carissa out there for Cincinnati as well.
This is back-to-back games where we have kind of a homecoming for some of our guys. West Virginia with Buck Harris and then Mustafa at UCF. So back-to-back games. So for me, I'm going to sound like a broken record. I said this last podcast. I'm going to say it again until it changes. And that's, we've got to execute in the last 5 minutes. Up 5 points. I don't know how much time was left when we were up 5. Was it 3-something?
They scored 3 points over the final 4:46 of this matchup.
So, we just listen. If it's Wes Miller putting these guys in different positions to be successful, if it's, taking more time at practice with, if I'm Wes and I'm the staff, we're going to take 70% of practice and it's going to be built around executing in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Here's situational stuff. Here's what we're going to run. And you've got to have a good feel for who are your guys you're going to go with in the last 5 minutes. Now, sometimes things change where, okay, you have it scripted like, okay, here are my guys. You got Day, you got Jizzle that you're going to play in the last 5 minutes because you know what they can do. But somebody might be hot that game. Somebody might be playing well that game, and you have to say, okay, I've got to pivot a little bit. That's understandable, but there's got to be kind of your solidified guys that have to be in to help close games in the last 5 minutes. Now, if this UCF game, if it's close down to the end and we play well in the last 5 minutes, I might have a little bit more hope for the basketball team right now. How many games have we lost this year in the last? Did we talk about this before one time?
How many games we lost in the final 4?
In the final 4 or 5 minutes of the game. Like we were tied, we were up, and just kind of
Xavier, Eastern Michigan, Houston, West Virginia.
And you could stop right there. That's a lot.
I was about to say probably 4.
That's a lot right there. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's change this around. Let's start with this UCF and let's close the last 5 minutes of this game and win this basketball game and get things turned around. You're listening to the Bearcat Tip Off Talk podcast presented by Donahue Accounting Services. Let's jump into the Twyman segment. This is where we cover hot topics, and I think there's only one hot topic for this podcast, and that is the Wes Miller post-game radio comments that he made after the West Virginia game with Terry Nelson and Dan Hoard. And I'm going to throw it to Neil. And Neil, if you could read a portion of what Wes said at that that post-game press conference.
Yeah, so obviously for the people who did not hear the press conference directly after the game, obviously for when Wes Miller does his radio segment or radio hit for what they call it, it is within what would you say, JT? Maybe 3 to 4 minutes directly after the game. So
Yeah.
after the game on Monday, or was it Tuesday night, he sat down with Dan Hoard and Terry Nelson, and Dan kind of briefed it off by saying, hey, like you got to feel for those guys in the locker room. And it sounded like before Dan could really finish what he was saying, Wes kind of interrupted and said, don't feel for those guys in the locker room because they understand it. He goes, they see the stuff on social media. They see people are counting them out on this team, but he goes, don't count us out right now. He goes, everybody can quit on us. It's us against the world. And I hear it because he sees what the people are saying on social media. He understands the fans' frustrations. Like, the results aren't where they want them to be, but he doesn't want people to count them out. So that's where I see it. But overall, those comments carried a lot of weight and kind of made some national headlines after the team's 62-60 loss versus West Virginia on Tuesday night.
Okay, so hold that. JT, your thoughts on the comments after the game?
Comments, man. I mean, that was just kind of like, I feel like you lose a tough game. I mean, I don't really think it was directed towards people that asked the question. You know what I mean? Like Dan and Terry. It was just more so they lost another tough game. You just lost to Houston, kind of in a similar fashion where you had a chance. You know, it's a close game, and then you just don't execute. You down here, you up 5, and then you do the same thing. So I kind of think it was just kind of like fans probably said a few things to these players that we don't know about, and that in turn, West just exploded per se. On that question, you're 0-2 in the Big 12, didn't go as well. Sound like a broken record. I'm saying the same thing on that, but broken record on a non-conference. But fans say certain stuff, man, and I feel like people have overall been fair with Wes for sure. But I just think with that conversation, with how he spoke, he saw something on social media, or how the fans are treating the players per se. So. And that's why I think he gave that kind of answer. So, everybody sees what's going on. The team's not doing as well as planned, but so that's nobody's going to be all as peachy as it's year 5. So it's kind of built up. You know what I mean? He got a plan. The plan isn't going to fruition. So when certain hopefully I'm saying this right, but when certain situations arise, it's going to get certain kind of responses, and it's not always going to be a PC response.
All right, I'm going to hold my thought. I got some comments on what you just said, JT.
Yeah.
I'm going to hold that till after
right.
Neil. Neil, why don't you go ahead and fire away?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is, for me, I mean, I can maybe see how those comments might have been portrayed, but you also have to understand, like, this is minutes after a tough loss. Like, he sees people, the results aren't going the right way. I feel like he sees that. And with how this kind of transpired is people are trying to kind of look at it and say, okay, we feel for those guys in the locker room, because guys like Dan and Terry, I mean, they've been around this program for forever. Terry gave his blood, sweat, and tears to this program per se, especially throughout his playing career as well. So, and he's a UC legend, and Dan's been around the program for quite some time now, calling basketball games. So, I mean, those are two guys who have seen this program at its highest, and he's seen them at their lowest. So, I don't think Wes was throwing any shade towards those two on the radio comments, but in the end, I mean, it's just a coach in a heated moment. And Wes Miller went out for his radio show tonight, and he kind of started it off with an apology to Dan and Terry on that. He said, none of my emotions or anger was directed at Dan and Terry or any group of people in particular. And he stated his love for the fan base and that this team does have standards and expectations. And when they aren't met, it's frustrating. So, I mean, it's just a coach being frustrated at the moment because he knows the potential in this team. So he knows what this group is capable of. But right now, they're not playing up to that potential. So obviously he has every right to be frustrated, especially in a game like that where you lose right down to the very end and things don't go your way. And it was an opportunity to maybe get Cincinnati starting to get back on that track following the Houston game. So overall, I mean, it was just a coach being frustrated, and sometimes emotions get the best of us. But if you're Wes Miller, I mean, me and JT and Meach, yourself included, we're around Wes on a regular basis. We know how much he cares, how much blood, sweat, and tears he puts into this program. I don't think there's anybody who wants it more than what Wes does for this program. Like, he wants to succeed, he wants to have the success, and he wants to have the career and the legacy here at Cincinnati. But right now, when the ship isn't going in the right direction per se, he's not going to quickly turn and give up on his team. This is a guy that's going to fight and try to get this thing right back on track no matter what it takes. So in the end, I just think it was a coach being frustrated like many coaches do in that kind of instance. I don't think it was meant towards any negativity or hostility towards Terry and Dan per se, but it was just a coach frustrated after a tough loss is how I interpreted it.
Yeah, so I was driving back. I went to a high school basketball game, and I was driving back, and I listened to the radio call. So I heard it actually live, and when I heard it, I just heard it as like an emotional, like he was emotional, and I didn't take it as he was throwing shade at Dan and Terry, and I didn't think much of it. And then when I got on social media and I saw everybody crushing, Wes for those comments, I was like, wait, what? Did I miss something? Did he say something else? But he didn't. And it just made me think at this point, whatever Wes does is going to be criticized.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what he said in that post game. He's just going to get blasted. And it's just how the basketball team's performing, and they're underperforming right now, and people are blasting them. So I didn't take it, as like crazy comments, because let's be honest, and I know some of these fans are younger, but had they never heard of Bob Huggins after a game? Like, he would get at Chuck Maychuk like crazy. I mean, if they heard that, they would be like, or how about Mick Cronin after basketball games? Right? We've heard those press conferences. The difference is, here's the difference. Hugs won.
Yeah.
Mick's winning.
Yeah.
Now, UCLA's what? 10-5 right now, I think. I think they lost 2 in a row, so they should be 10-5. If they lose versus Maryland, I think Maryland's their next opponent, and that gives them three losses in a row. Those press conferences are going to hit a little bit different.
Yeah.
We're going to start putting a microscope on that. And that's just where we are with Wes. The microscope's on everything. If he steps with his left foot first, it's wow. You should step with your right foot first. It doesn't matter what you do now at this point, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And I think to your point, JT, there were some other things in motion, because you noticed when Wes came on the radio show right away, he fired off with those comments. So it was kind of premeditated. And I think that's a result of what you were saying, JT. There were comments made towards players that were impacting his players negatively. And I think Wes is a type of guy, and I've heard him say this. I'll be transparent with this. I heard him say he doesn't care what fans say about him. He makes plenty of money. He's doing his dream job. But I think when you're taking shots at his players, who he looks at as his kids, that's when he's not happy about it. And I took that as premeditated, put everything on me. And people are already putting a lot on him. Yeah. But stay away from my players.
Yeah.
Come at me crazy.
Yeah.
And that's how I interpret it. And at the end of the day, like I said before, and I'll leave on this and leave the floor to you guys. Hugs has some crazy post games. Mick, you can go search through Twitter and hear Mick, go off.
Yeah.
They just are winning. They just Hugs won. Mick's been winning.
Yeah.
That's the difference to me. JT, Neil, any more thoughts?
I'm all good. JT, you got anything?
Yeah, I think it's just a winning. And just like, when you don't win, man, it gets everything's a little tighter, no matter what it is. I don't care if you, like you said, anything you do. Just think about any sports situation. You get a little bit more leeway when you winning. Just John Harbaugh just got fired. I mean, he's been Ravens coach for.
Did you expect that, JT? Did you?
I don't know.
Rumblings, but I didn't think that they were actually.
Yeah, I didn't think they were gonna follow through. So it's just kind of one of those things, man. When when stuff stuff falls, it falls and it crumbles. It crumbles. You know what I mean? So people are just kind of looking a little tighter at you. And I think that's kind of one of those things with Wes, man. Don't win. People are questioning everything you do. Then maybe it makes you question a little bit of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
One thing I want to say, I'm glad you brought up the NFL situation. How many NFL coaches have been fired?
8 as of today.
8?
I forgot. It should be 9 if they would have actually, if Mike Brown would actually do what he's supposed to do and fire Zach Taylor, but it should be 9, but it's actually 8.
Well, Zach's my guy. I'm not even commenting on that. So, man, that's a lot of coaches. I mean, is that on par for last year with the NFL?
I think that's more.
I would think it was more, but I don't know if I was wrong about that. But and listen, I think one of the other things is there are situations where I do feel coaches have been given a lot of opportunities, and it's right for fans to go. It's time for you to go as a head coach. And there's sometimes where fans don't give somebody a chance, and it's like, you got to go. And I will say this. I think the Bearcat fans have been fair for the most part. This is year 5 for Wes.
Yeah.
He's had opportunities, right? It's not like, but I was with a good friend of mine, Dominic Cantrella, and a couple folks, and they're big UK fans. They want Pope fired. And I'm like, bro, he's only been there, a year and a couple months?
Change, yeah.
I'm like, what? I'm like, that's crazy. That's one of your own. Like,
yeah.
But I think that's just the culture we're living in now. We've got to find somebody blame, and whoever that person is, just get him out the door.
Yeah.
It's almost like, you know what? And I know I'm probably going off on a really far tangent with this, but it's almost like, what is the divorce rate right now? Higher than it's ever been?
Probably so. I'm pretty sure.
It ain't worked through things anymore. It's like, all right, here she ain't getting it done.
Yeah.
Peace out you later. You know what I mean?
Other options. I'm out.
So it's the same with coaches. Like, but think about this. If Coach K at Duke, if things had gone the way Duke had planned them, they would have fired Coach K. It would have never happened, because you've heard the story. First couple seasons, he struggled, and they were going to fire him. And Bobby Knight called and said, "Do not. If you fire him, that will be the biggest mistake you've ever made." And they kept him. And obviously, we know the rest. Now, I'm not saying that's the case with Wes. I'm crediting. I think Bearcat fans have given Wes plenty of opportunities. Now, Coach Satterfield from day one he's been fired upon from day one. Like 2 months into it, I think he's like, you gotta go. I'm like, dang, he's having coached the game. Like, that's crazy. But it is a different world with athletics right now. So we'll close on this. I'm anxious to see how the Bearcats do versus UCF. It could tell a lot about the rest of the season. All right, fellas, this concludes another great podcast. Thanks to all of our sponsors, Donahue Accounting Services, Purple Monkey Project, and Oakley Greens. You're listening to the Bearcat Tip Off Talk podcast presented by Donahue Accounting Services. For friendly expert tax advice whenever you need it, come to Donahue Accounting Services, a leading accounting firm in Cincinnati, Ohio. Our top-notch accountants strive to help you resolve all your financial and tax issues. Call Donahue Accounting Services today for a free consultation at 513-528-3982 or visit online at DonahueAccountingServices.com. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Bearcat Tip Off Talk podcast presented by Donahue Accounting Services. Go Bearcats.